If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. Well, here are some pictures that you sent in using our Eyewitness portal. And first is this picture, which has danger written all over it. It shows welding works ongoing in Ikotun roundabout in Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter, who says that this act puts people and vehicles moving around at risk, pleads with concerned parties to look into it with the consideration of lives and commuters. And this is another picture of a car badly damaged. Our Eyewitness reporter says that the driver ran into a stationary trailer along Adobadore Road in Ajah, Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter also cautions drivers on overspeeding and pleads with the trailers and truck drivers to park on the road, to put appropriate caution signs around their vehicles, especially at night. Finally is this picture of a refuse dump almost taking over a part of Buhari Road in Kubwa, Abuja. Our Eyewitness reporter says that unhealthy stench coming from the illegal dump site has made life so difficult for residents there. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on relevant authorities to clear the refuse and provide proper waste disposal materials for residents. We want to thank you so much indeed for sending in those pictures. We do appreciate them very much indeed. Just keep them coming. The President's determination to tackle corruption in the country head-on may not be in doubt, but there are issues that have to be addressed before the fight can achieve the desired results. One of them is that anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria must carry out proper investigation for evidence before cases are brought before the courts. Some analysts are of the view that in many cases, judges are constrained and only deliver judgments based on limited proof, which is presented before them. Our correspondent, Andy Thompson, reports.
With headlines on anti-corruption war by the federal government populating the media, as well as the efforts of agencies such as the ICPC also finding its space, legal practitioners have said that except due process is followed, the recent effort may end up with little or no achievement.
Somebody will steal 500 naira, for instance. You file 100 charges, all of them worthless. That is the attitude. So what do you expect the judge to do? It doesn't matter what you say in the news, in the press, in the papers. The judge works based on evidence.
The ICPC agrees that there's been a loophole and observes that the way out has been the training of investigators to fit into the global system.
You know, in the past, for you to get money, you had to hold a gun and wait for somebody to come out of the bank. Or if they were traders, they had to carry loads of money in night buses. Then you can waylay the buses. These days, you can carry millions with a plastic card. And so the sophistication has changed from you following physical cash of the past. So you have to retrain your investigators to follow financial trails electronically.
The governor of Edo State, who is also heading the National Economic Council Ad Hoc Committee on the management of excess crude accounts, says that from his observation, the media has not been playing its role efficiently, especially in the area of investigative journalism.
Informations are there, but we are not able to interrogate the information and make sense, out of it. And we are expecting those who are beneficiaries of a closed shop to open the shop. That is not going to happen. Those who benefit from abuse of office cannot be depended upon to open the books.
Apart from the National Economic Council Ad Hoc Committee, President Muhammadu Buhari has also formed an advisory committee against corruption to advise his administration on the prosecution of war against corruption and the implementation of required reforms in the country's criminal justice system. Andy Thompson reporting for Channels Television News.
The Delta State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Asaba has dismissed applications filed by councils to Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, the People's Democratic Party and the Independent National Electoral Commission, praying the tribunal not to admit fresh witnesses on behalf of the Labour Party and its candidate, Chief Grado Boro. In his ruling, the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Nasiru Gumi, granted leave for the court to admit the witnesses to tender relevant documents relating to the results of the April 11 governorship elections. Counsel to the defendant had earlier urged the tribunal to reject the applicant's plea for more witnesses to testify, saying that it was not necessary and not backed up by the original petitions. Further hearing has been adjourned to Thursday, August the 27th, 2015, for commencement of the proceedings. The Kaduna State Police Command has arrested 9 suspects for committing various crimes across the state. Parading the suspects before journalists at the command headquarters, the Kaduna State Police Public Relations Officer Zubairu Abubakar said that 4 of them were apprehended for stealing different types of heavy-duty generators used by mobile phone service providers to power their transmission masts. He said that the suspects were arrested by the command's Special Anti-Vandalism Squad while they were struggling and moving the items to Kano State in a J5 bus. 5 others were arrested for allegedly violating 2 girls. The arrest of the suspects, according to the police PRO, followed a complaint lodged to the command by one of the victims, who is a 13-year-old girl. And staying in Kaduna State, the government officials there and farmers have been discussing ways of tackling rural banditry in northern Nigeria. They have recommended the gazetting of grazing reserves and setting up of ranches and stock routes by states and federal government as way of ending the incessant blood clashes between herdsmen and farmers, as well as the high increase in cattle rustling in the region.
Herdsmen in some northern states have in recent times been attacked by armed bandits, cutting away livestock and devastating their communities. These government officials and farmers are here in Kaduna to work out a solution to the problem. Part of their recommendation is the development of a comprehensive plan for grazing reserves and ranches.
For 5 years, the armed bandits were on rampage, devastating communities, ransacking commercial farms, and destroying people's livelihoods. While this was going on, the institutions of the state largely remained passive. Limited action was taken by both the security and civil authorities as the victims continued to suffer trauma, deprivation, and insecurity.
The Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Balabantex, says the state government is ready to collaborate with security agencies to end cattle rustling and other security challenges.
We, on our own part, I'm very happy to note that those of you on the high table, and probably some of you, are already familiar with some of the major steps the government has taken towards solving some of these problems.
Representing the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Umar Ramalan, told Channels Television that the ministry is preparing a template for new cattle routes to mitigate the frequent conflicts between herdsmen and farmers.
When these pastoralists are moving during their seasonal migration, they have roads which we call stock route, which they normally follow. And this year when they pass, on their way back, sometimes they find out that there is a farm in that place, or one development has taken place along the route. So what they do is they divert. In the course of diversion, they may enter into people's farm, and then the animals will eat farmers' crop, and then the next thing is you find out that there is a conflict between that farmer and the pastoralist.
Suggestions and recommendations made from the participants would form a template for governments at all levels to completely eradicate cattle rustling in northern Nigeria.
Officials of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, have raided unregistered companies and warehouses in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The agency claims that the companies sell substandard and unregistered foods and drugs to the members of the public. The Edo State NAFDAC coordinator, Mr. David West, who led the raid alongside the chairman of the Edo State Task Force on Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Products, and other NAFDAC officials, pledged the commitment of the agency to rid the state of such products.
This two-story building, located on Ugefa Street in Benin City, the Edo State capital, is where the NAFDAC officials commenced the day's exercise. The building is home to a vegetable oil warehouse and repackaging company known as Uwa Oil. Mr. Patrick Oko, who identified himself as the manager of the company, tells more about the unlabeled jerry cans of vegetable oil, their sources, and the reason for operating in an unclean environment.
This is how you bought it?
No, I said we couldn't have been buying it and then expect to grow. We buy in tank and then dispense, transfer onto the tank and dispense. Okay. It's oil, vegetable oil now.
Sir, with due respect, Mr. Oko, yes. What I want you to know is I want to put it into you that you are adulterating other people's products.
We do not refine oil. We buy finished product and sell to the public. So the issue of adulteration has nothing to do with Uwa because we do not produce.
The operators of this other vegetable oil repackaging company were nowhere within sight. Here again is another warehouse along Sokomba Road, Benin City, stocked with assorted wines, motor parts, and electronic gadgets. The sealing up of these shops ignites angry reactions from their owners, but these NAFDAC officials will not be deterred.
When they expire, they have the dates of expiry dates, and the day when they produce and they see the right and they put. So before we they buy, we they look at if it expire, we know they buy. And then from that side, they pass wharf. If they pass wharf from Lagos and then still now before they call they offload that for a year. We know they do one for a year.
The long arm of the law also caught up with these unlicensed herbal drug sellers at the popular King Square in Benin City.
Now untreated infection.
After the day's exercise, the Edo State NAFDAC coordinator and the chairman of the State Task Force on Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Foods decried the high level of fake and substandard products in the state, but pledged their commitment toward reversing the trend in Edo State.
Any of these products, regulated products, food, bottled water, drinks, drugs, cosmetics, and the like, manufactured in Nigeria or imported from outside must go through a process of registration.
The whole state is worried. We are worried. That's why the Federal Task Force got some information of some illegality and fake happening in those states. And so they sent a squad from Abuja to come and do a surveillance.
It is hoped that this renewed commitment by NAFDAC to raid Edo State of fake and adulterated food and drug items will be sustained.
When the News at 10 returns, experts seek review of the 2015 Cybercrime Act. That's on Business News.